Hey, it's Kamikaze coming in with another That's How I Mix It Saturday, where I take plugins and effects, put it on my voice, and show it to you. So this week, we're going over my Lethargic Yeti voice and how I kind of came up with that. And then we're going to hop over to Bats and Vats and that weird harmony melody that I made at the end of that. So Lethargic Yeti is my ulterior rap persona. I kind of came up with him when I was trying to learn what the transpose button did on Studio One, and I was messing with the different octaves, and I hit -3, and ever since I've never gone back. I liked the way it sounded. It sounded like a completely different person than me, and I immediately knew that this would be the perfect voice to use for ad-libs or just have him rapping by himself. Sounds perfect. Just a quick tutorial on how I do this. So if I were to record something like Lethargic Yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti. Weapons were used, not sure how many, no clues. Something random like that. Take it, I lower it -3 on the transpose button, and then I run it through a gate. The gate's just there to take any harsh clip or any harshness out of the voice, really. If I had like a sharp inhale or something at the beginning of a phrase, it just takes a little bit of that down so that when I go to put it into the effects, it's not processing all that unnecessary data, and gives you a cleaner vocal. So the next effect that I have in the chain is voice centric. It's kind of like a vocal saturator. It just gives it some warmth, some character, and it has a nice doubler feature that I like to use. It sounds more like a chorus to me, but it gives Lethargic a little bit more of a natural character to it, and it kind of takes off that weird I don't know if it's like a crackle or a gurgle that you get with transposing your voice. Kind of makes it sound auto-tuney, but the doubler kind of polishes that off and gives it more of a natural tone instead of an auto-tune tone. So with it off, I'll give it a playthrough so you can hear that.
Lethargic Yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti. Weapons were
pretty uneventful. With it on,
Lethargic Yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti. Weapons were used.
Not too much there, but you can hear a little bit of a volume increase and a little bit more presence come out of the vocals. So we're starting to build that presence, and we're taking some of the low mids out of there, some of the mud out of there, and we're just starting to polish the vocal up. So after I run it through that effect, I like to run it through another gate. Again, just for any other harshness that may come out, since I did boost the frequency a little bit. I just want to ensure that we're not carrying anything that came from the original recording over. So we just keep polishing, keep it polished. Nectar is one of my go-to plugins that I have pretty much on any vocal chain that I do. It's a smart EQ, really just a smart assistant. Has a de-esser and a dynamic range tool on it. I don't really use the space too much here. I don't really like the way their reverb sounds. It sounds a little cheap to me, but I do like the de-esser, and I do like the dynamic EQ that it has in it. It just polishes and listens to a voice and gives it that one-click feel so that I can do this and I can move on to the next task in the vocal chain quickly. So without it, we've already heard, but I'll do it again.
Lethargic Yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti.
Alright, that's without it there. And here's with it.
Lethargic Yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti. Weapons were used.
So before we had a little bit of boominess, and then this just kind of takes that boominess down, levels everything out, and prepares it for the next plugin in the chain, which is always going to be my compressor. And my go-to compressor right now is Renaissance Vox. You can get that at Waves. It's just a simple, easy to use compressor. You got your slide here, you got another gate, and you got your gain here. I don't do anything too crazy when I'm compressing on the direct line, and I do add another compressor on the bus channel. So I just do a light compression here just to get things leveled out, so we're not having like any dips with my voice as if I were getting closer or farther away from the mic. It just levels that out. So without
Lethargic Yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti.
With
Lethargic yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti.
Everything's one level, and starting to sound really nice, a little bit more present. So the way I like to add a lot of reverb to my stuff, just to get a little bit of a natural feel, and I like to control where the reverb is in the chain, and I always put it at the end. That way I could polish it off with an EQ and then another EQ later in the bus. So I add Phoenix Verb. It's just one of the many reverbs that I have, but I've been using this one a lot lately. I like the way it sounds. I usually have the mix somewhere around 35 or 31. That just depends on the vocal or where the vocal's sitting in the instrumental. So this by itself, without a EQ behind it, it sounds a little too reverby.
Lethargic yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti. Weapons were used, not sure how many.
You know what I mean? A little too much reverb there. We don't really like that. And then I add the equalizer, which takes some of the...
Lethargic yeti, pop like a balloon full of confetti. Weapons were used, not sure how many.
And that's
no
how
clues.
I do the Lethargic Yeti voice.
Something random like that.
Not really much to it. Not something super duper crazy. But that's just the direct chain. And then I do go ahead and process that through a master bus, especially if I have multiple Lethargic Yeti layers or ad libs. I always go ahead and process through that separate bus and add more compression, more EQ, and just some limiting, just typical vocal chain stuff. But let's go ahead and pop over to the harmonies that I did on Bats and Vats. Let's go ahead and get over there. Alright, so we're over here at Bats and Vats. I just wanted to go over the weird clashing harmony that I created, and then like the ad-libs that I have backing myself up on that. So at the beginning of this chain, I wanted to polish off my natural vocal just by taking off the low and mid range. Your beat's already going to have the low and mid range filled out for you, so you really don't need those tones and frequencies in your vocal pattern. And in fact, if you leave them there, they will clash with your beat and make it sound a little bit average Joe and not professional. So I like to take that out very first, then add Nectar, as I said before, just to polish things off before they go into any kind of effect. And then this one, I wanted to add a little bit of flavor, and chorus has always sounded really delightful on my voice, and I wanted it to be a full chorus, full 100%, so that you can really tell that I'm using something on there with LFO and a sine wave. So again, the sine wave is just going up and down, and then I paired that with Melodyne to get that weird clashing harmony. Now, Melodyne is a plugin that you can use not only to find like the key that you're singing in, or to fix, like if you were singing a note off key, you can drag that specific phrase or word into key and kind of fix your vocals, doctor surgery it up like that. I like to use it to create weird harmonies. This one, I use it to create a clashing harmony, so they're off key, and when the two vocals hit each other, they do sound like they're clashing, and it sounds a little bit weird. I thought it gave it like a weird space vibe. I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but it fit perfect with the storytelling vibe that I wanted to hit with what I was going for at the end. So here is with this track muted. So I have this is the natural track, and then I have the track below it that's going through Melodyne. And the reason why I did that is you can't take the normal track with Melodyne and move it up the key. It's going to change the sound of it. So to create the harmony, I needed both of them. So with the harmony muted, this is what it sounds like. A donut is glazed, but it's been days, weeks, years, still humming on stage. I read the gauge, drink a case to solve a case. Pretty average. Then I add the dueling harmony is glazed, but it's been days, weeks, years, still humming on stage. I read the gauge, drink a case to solve a case. Now when you're thinking things off key, you normally would think like it would sound bad to the ear, but not everything that clashes off key does sound bad to the ear that I found, and this is one of the ones were one of the clashes that I thought sounded really nice, so I kept it going through the whole phase. The reason why you're seeing like this one here and this one up here and this one down here is this one I got clashing with a high octave, and then this one I got clashing with a low octave. So here's this phrase. I read the gauge, drink a case to solve a case. Blend full of sand, you'll see him with cricket bones, twisted posture, make it hard to... So that is how I did the harmony, and then I got these ad-libs that are backing me up the whole time. And this is very similar to the kind of thought process that I came in when I was mixing Used to Know, and I wanted to have that in and out LFO type vibe. So I started off with mixing it with a mix verb just to give it echo, but not too much echo. I wanted it to be light because I was going to add this delay on it, and this delay is really what gives it that like one's here and then one's way in the back and one's more present, so it's kind of bouncing between those volumes, which gives it a really cool vibe. And then we hit it with the same chorus, just not as hardcore as we did with the rap vocals. So let's go ahead and take off these without plugins. But it's been days, weeks, years. And I just muted the beat there so you can hear this a little bit more clearly, and then here's with the plugins on. And I love that LFO whistle. So it just makes it sound a lot more trippy. It goes along with the verse that I had where it was sounding spacey and trippy. And then while you're seeing again this one here and this one there is I just did a little bit of pan action that way. When you hear the first one, we got it coming through left speaker, and then when we hear the other one, we got it coming through right speaker. It just gives it a cool listening experience while you have the vocals just coming through center. A little bit more width fills everything out. So that is how I mixed it. That's how I mixed it on Lethargic Yeti and harmonies today. So next week we're going to go over my new stuff. I'm working on Brain Man, the album, the project. And then I'm going to try to get some other producers in here, record some clips, and show you how they mix it. So we'll see you next week. As always, love you guys. Peace!